Hello my good friends, welcome to another Digimon Explained video. My name is Jesse and in this video we are going to take our time to explore what I would call the brother, at least in terms of origins, from the very popular Digimon known as Meramon. Now I'm sure some of you are telling themselves like, what is he talking about? What does he mean with brother? Let me enlighten you. You see, as we explained in its own video, Meramon is actually generated from the defensive firewall which prevents illegal entries from the internet and the like. A firewall is a defensive barrier that defends the net and is, the way I understand it, extremely huge up to a point some areas are a bit inaccessible to most. The firewall is defended by GODLIKE and together with the net keeper Giromon, they repel those who try to illegally enter the net. And they do play their roles quite well. However, the wall itself is nigh impenetrable. Most would simply find another way to get into the digital world and wouldn't bother with it. The few and perhaps the only Digimon who has ever been able to get through it was Lavogaritamon in the manga Digimon Next chapter 18 called Break Through the Firewall. It was said that the firewall nullifies all attacks, so the character Tsurugi had to burn his Digisoul to give Lavogaritamon the power to create a hole in the firewall and advance forward. So it is very exceptional that something like that happens. Now, that wall in itself, with its holy flame, as I like to call it, gave birth to several Digimon. Birdramon is one example, a flying bird with the Dramon name, meaning that it is probably a descendant of dragon species and thus an offspring of Dracomon. Birdramon has an appearance that is shrouded in flames, just like the firewall. And you know what? With this history, that is perhaps the main reason why I am not really convinced that Biomon should be its rookie. But that's just me. I digress. Biomon should have had a separate line that would respect its bird heritage and even colors a bit more, just like how this fan-made Biomon Mega DIGIVOLUTION is. Anyway, back to the firewall. There is also a Digimon that is considered the incarnation of that firewall, Agnimon. A guardian deity and one who possesses power over flame and is able to freely manipulate it. A Digimon that deserves its own video like many others. Meramon is also a Digimon created by the firewall, and what's more interesting is that not one but multiple Meramon have been created. For that I will have to show you an interesting quote which we will have to discuss properly. Here goes, and I quote, "Its firepower is stronger than those of the same species on File Island." This sentence causes me to look at Meramon in the following way. You see, I believe that the Meramon species do not originate from the same side of the firewall which generated them. That explains why one Meramon is weaker than the other, as the quote is telling us. Think about it. The weaker variant is said to come from File Island, more specifically probably from the Mihirashi Mountain, which is a dormant volcano. A Meramon was confirmed to live there. And while the mountain is a dormant volcano, it still spreads temperatures high enough to heat up the village's water supply near boiling level. For Meramon, it would be better to be in areas where the flames and heat are much higher, so it would make sense that this Meramon is deemed weaker as it is near a dormant volcano. And to add on the case of Meramon, I believe that the species has a tendency to usually get to the surface and live above ground. And that can even be found in its in-training form, Demi-Meramon. This Digimon has its entire body ablaze due to how its Digicore burns. And it has been documented that it is extremely weak to water and ice snow type Digimon, all of which are above surface Digimon, and so it will flee at the moment it encounters them. Which brings us to the brother of Meramon, which I mentioned earlier. When Demi-Meramon digivolves, it will normally become Candlemon, Meramon, Skull Meramon, etc. We talked about them in depth in a previous video. Demi-Meramon can also take a completely different route, and instead of becoming Meramon, it will digivolve into Vorvomon, with the name Vorvo being a combination of volcano and bobo, the latter being a Japanese onomatopoeia for burning. And the name says it all. Vorvomon either lives inside volcanoes or near, in other words, areas where the heat is high enough. Which brings us to the data that was used to generate the Digimon Vorvomon. And this is actually what I find most interesting. You see, Vorvomon is on the one hand a rock-type Digimon. Another known Digimon of the same type is Gotsumon, who acquired the data of ore, which improved its defense. And it makes sense why Vorvomon is of the rock type. As said previously, from its name, we know that it either lives inside a volcano or near. The fires inside the volcano is called magma. In other words, molten rock below the surface. On the other hand, you have the lava, which is molten rock flowing on the Earth's surface. And the color of lava depends on the temperature. It starts out bright orange. When it cools down, it becomes bright red to dark. When it becomes solid and basically becomes a stone, the lava turns black, just like Vorvomon's entire appearance. This is proof that it is quite likely that Vorvomon began inside a volcano near the firewall and migrated out of that volcano and gained the black color. On top of that, I need to add the following about its origins. Vorvomon is not just of the rock type, it also belongs to the dragon's roar family. Members of this field are usually draconic Digimon or those who dwell in volcanic areas. And you can see that Vorvomon clearly has some draconic physical features. The horns, the teeth, the fact that it has wings, and the fact that it can spew out a small high temperature flame from its mouth. So in summary, Vorvomon is a rock dragon Digimon made of a hard, hot ore with data linking it back to Dracomon. It has wings on both of its arms, showing its dragon heritage, but the wings have yet to develop. I say so because it is able to fly for only a few seconds before it gets tired. And that is probably because there is a certain weight to its body, as it is made entirely out of stone. Now, due to Vorvomon being very passionate, the more excited it gets, the more the temperature of its horns and claws will increase. That's why you can see the change in colors. They gain the colors of lava when it is at its hottest. This is a hint that Vorvomon is one that would endure extreme heat once it digivolves. We'll get to that in a moment, but first check its first Digivolution, which is the champion Lavorvomon. And the name says it all once more. The name became a combination of the words lava, volcano, and bobo. Again, the Japanese onomatopoeia for burning. By taking into account the name, we can tell that it probably would live even much closer to a volcano, if not entirely inside, rarely coming out. And from its profile, we can pretty much confirm this idea. Lavorvomon is a Digimon whose entire body is made out of lava and sprouts mineral dust as it goes about its activities. It became poor at flying despite having wings, probably because it became bigger. In fact, almost twice as big, and the strength of its wings have yet to catch on. So, it mainly moves about by crawling on the ground. However, don't underestimate its somewhat sluggish appearance, as its crawling speed is extremely fast. It can close in on the enemy in an instant. Lavorvomon, along with its rookie, are Digimon who clearly are still developing. They are not yet combat ready. In fact, when Lavorvomon tries to spit fire, it has to take a deep breath to spit out the largest fireball it can make. Aside of that, the Digimon is quite friendly. It will let those it trusts near it without any reservation. However, others tend to still stay as far away as they can from it, out of fear that the flammable mineral dust it sprouts may cause an explosion. We can say that everything changes for Lavorvomon once it digivolves into Lavogaritamon. That is when it becomes a different beast altogether. Just in size, it came from a Digimon that was about 7 feet tall to a dragon that reached 30 feet and is entirely covered in rock. So in terms of defense, it would be quite hard to get through. With its now trained legs, it can stand imposingly and intimidate all those who might be willing to not respect it. And with its large wings, it can lift even heavy bodies effortlessly into the air. Lavogaritamon dwells in the magma beds of active volcanoes around the digital world, which might explain why it was given the name Lavogarita. It is a reference of the large caldera in the San Juan volcanic field called La Garita Caldera in southwestern Colorado, United States. A caldera is a large hollow that forms shortly after the emptying of a magma chamber in a volcano eruption. Know that La Garita Caldera is among the largest known volcanic eruptions in Earth history, as well as being one of the most powerful known supervolcanic events. And Lavogaritamon is an embodiment of that supervolcanic event, and you know what? It is just as dangerous. But before I speak about its capabilities, I do want to tell you that Lavogaritamon is theorized to live nearby another lava dragon Digimon, one that is called Volcanicdramon. A Digimon said by volcanologists that volcanic eruptions occur due to the activity of Volvamon, which wouldn't be much of a surprise. The Digimon is quite powerful despite having a gentle nature and is over 100 feet tall, so pretty much all of its activities might be felt by many. Now, how powerful is Lavogaritamon? Well, let me say it like that. If you guys have ever played the Dark Souls games or Elden Ring, games I adore, and you found that the dragons there were quite unfair, well, Lavogaritamon is actually no different. It already has its size as an advantage. Then it has a body that is entirely made of rock, so many attacks wouldn't get through. Then it has its wings, which can be used to fly in the air and make it become a difficult target to hit. Then it has also a special fighting style where it scatters its mineral dust, covering the enemy with it and causing it to explode by freely manipulating its ignition point. Also, if the enemy moves while being covered with the dust, it will also result in ignition. So once a Digimon is covered in mineral dust, they will drown in terror when the dust explodes. On top of that, Lavogaritamon can fire a laser-shaped heat ray from its mouth, so it has projectiles. This Digimon already looks like a boss battle Digimon, and you know what? It has another Digivolution, a final form, Volcanicdramon, and boy oh boy, if you thought that Lavogaritamon was too powerful, I can tell you already that Volcanicdramon is next level in terms of destructive capabilities. In fact, depending on the media, you could consider this Digimon to be somewhat of a god in and on itself. Volcanicdramon is almost twice the height of Volvamon, reaching the heights of 160 feet, while still being able to fly and even swim in magma, as has been claimed. With a body that is not easily penetrable, it can spew scorching hot flames from its mouth, and that flame, when an area is incinerated by it, that area will never ever return to the way it once was and becomes an uninhabitable wasteland for all eternity. It is thought that Volcanicdramon lives in a place so deep underground that not even Digimon that move about there can reach it. And try to imagine how hot it would be over there. Not even Digimon made out of flames like Meramon or Birdramon could get there. It is too deep and too hot. Heck, even metallic Digimon like Machinedramon would probably already have reached melting point, so we are talking about a literal god of the element of lava. And you know what? According to some researchers, there are a few who argue that it might have been Volcanicdramon that supported the world from deep beneath the ground ever since the digital world was created. And in some depictions, it actually was the case. In the game Digimon Links, Volcanicdramon lives in the deepest part of the digital world and holds it since its creation. And in the game, it is revealed that Volcanicdramon can manipulate freely any type of data, even creating the mutant type, a type of Digimon that was claimed to have been created by Ancient Wisemon, one of the 10 legendary warriors. And in the past, much data not used by humans was discarded in the digital world, and even with this world being made in part by this data, too much of it was generated for a long time, causing problems to the digital world's structure. Part of this unused data was broken and manipulated by Volcanicdramon at the lava zone, but the amount of data from the human world surpassed its capacity, forcing areas of the world to break apart and making the digital world system to start a reboot. So in a case of emergency, Volcanicdramon made a little backup of a few data bytes of itself, which created Vorvomon. And you know what? Taking into account the background story of Vorvomon, we can say that its creation probably happened near the firewall, which is probably near the lava zone where Volcanicdramon resides. Anyway, after the reboot, Volcanicdramon forgot part of its mission, remembering only about destroying data, and it can destroy data in multiple ways. Volcanicdramon has, on one hand, the ability to rewrite parts of the digital world's data, bringing it closer to collapse. And on the other hand, it can also create the key codes, which were the only data strong enough to save the digital world, but it implanted them in the 7 Great Demon Lords' data, which made them mutate. In the game, mutated Digimon are Digimon mutated by the power of Volcanicdramon, and these Digimon have different coloring from their original shapes and have one weakness, while their normal versions have 2. So in other words, these versions are more powerful than their normal counterpart. Also some extra, in Digimon Links, Volcanicdramon has a sort of duality. Its godliness is challenged by another. With that I mean the following. While Volcanicdramon has the ability to destroy all things and rules over the earth, Metallicdramon, which is its counterpart, rules over the heavens and can restore all things. In other words, both represent a side on the yin and yang, and there's a balance that emerges by their presence. So that was Volcanicdramon's story in the Digimon Links game. It was literally given a god status, and you know what, even outside of the game, Volcanicdramon is given a somewhat godlike status, as it is said that if it would ever rise to the surface, it may be that some kind of crisis is occurring in the digital world. And here comes the question, what side would it be on? We know that its previous forms have a somewhat friendly nature, but what tells that Volcanicdramon would have a similar nature? You let me know in the comment section. Hey guys, this is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. As some of you would know, or at least I hope you would know, I love dragons. So going through all of that was more than fun to me. And I also love that Volcanicdramon is not really that popular compared to Meramon, while they both share a similar in-training form. It's a bit ironic in a way because Volcanicdramon is so intimidating with the potential for a killer Digimon story. So you know what, I'm going to ask all of you to simply share your opinions down below about the dragon. How do you view it? What potential story do you see it have? Feel free and let go with your imaginations. I'd love to read all of them. On top of your comments, make sure to also follow me on Instagram. I will need some of your backup over there. I hope I can count on all of you for it. Also, make sure to like this video to help the channel resist the YouTube algorithm, and make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. In this channel we focus on Digimon lore, so I'm sure many of you would love it. And if you are new, know that all my videos are placed in different Digimon playlists which are always updated, that way you can catch up on newer and older videos.